Welcome to Lean to the Left, home of no-holds-barred commentary, plus interviews with fascinating people, some of them top experts, others simply with interesting stories to tell. You'll never know who'll show up at Lean to the Left. Now here's your host, Bob Gaddy.
It was a Monday evening when Robert Chelsea was driving to his Los Angeles home when his car overheated. He pulled to the side of the freeway to wait for help when a drunk driver slammed into his car, which exploded on impact. Robert was in a coma for 6 months and hospitalized for 18 months with severe burns covering the majority of his face and body. Facial tissue, including his lips, were burned off. He has endured more than 30 surgeries. Last July, after years of tests and physical and psychological evaluations, and a longer than usual wait for a donor, Robert underwent a 16-hour full face transplant at Brigham and Women's Hospital. At 68, he became the first Black patient and the oldest in the world to receive a full face transplant. Today, as he seeks to raise money to help pay for that surgery, Robert also operates the Robert Chelsea Foundation, which is dedicated to increasing awareness of the benefits of the donation of organs, limbs, bone marrow, and certain stem cells. We'll talk about all of that today. Robert, welcome to the Lean to the Left podcast. Appreciate you being with us.
Oh, man, thank you. Thank you very much. It's not the surgery so much as the aftercare, because the surgery was taken care of by a grant from the Department of Defense.
Oh, okay.
They were given Brigham Women's Hospital was given a grant to do 10 facial transplants because the Department of Defense had over 300 face transplant candidates, but they had to have the test done first. So They gave Brigham a grant to do 10 successful before the DOD allowed them to start doing face transplants for the Army.
Okay. So are you a veteran? Is that why you qualified or not?
No, I'm not a veteran, no.
Okay.
It just turned out that because of my facial condition.
Right. Okay.
And actually, I don't know how much you want in the interview and how much but what? The cutoff was actually age 50 for face transplants.
Okay.
But by God's grace, they, of course, they sent me through the ringer.
Yeah.
But eventually, they felt that it would be a good match, and that I would qualify as a candidate to the, even though at that time I was like 64 years old.
Okay. All right, Robert, let's back up a little bit. If you've had one of the toughest experiences absolutely imaginable, at least from my perspective, tell us exactly what happened. I gave a little summary at the top, but tell us what happened when you were in that accident. How that happened?
Well, it's pretty much as you said. I was on the freeway, and actually I was in the far left lane, the fast lane, and my car overheated. I saw the smoke, and so I was able to pull over by God's grace and get to the shoulder of the freeway. Called a friend of mine to see if he could give me a hand, maybe bring a hose or something to, help reconnect the torn hose. I assumed that it was torn. I didn't get out the car to find out. Okay. And while all this was going on, I saw a car swerve from about the third lane over, all the way over to the shoulder, and it continued on, and I saw him coming, and he ran straight into me.
Oh, man.
My car actually was hit. It went up in the air and came down. About 3 or 4 seconds later, it blew up.
Oh, man.
Fortunately, I was still conscious, and it seemed like I was told to go to the left. And, in nanoseconds, I was just, going through this.
Sure.
Uh, and I said to myself, well, to the right is less fire. But there was a console in my car, and I couldn't get over anyway. So I said, okay, I'll go to you. So far, so good. I went to the left, and it seemed like I was just going through a tunnel of fire, a long tunnel, although it probably was just inches away.
Sure.
And I got out, and a friend, he's a friend now, but he was a Good Samaritan then, named Richard Robles. He guided me and tried to assist me to a safer area because I was in the slow lane of the freeway, but still cars were just flying by.
Sure.
And so he tried to escort me, Bob. And while he did that, he said he tried to take my arm, but my arm was melting.
Oh,
so he had to take a belt buckle and put it around my waist and kind of gently escort me over to a safer area.
Oh man, that guy's a hero, huh?
Oh, he's super. He's if you get to know him, you'll see that what he did for me, not only would he do for others, but he's that kind of person for anyone.
Incredible. Incredible. He saved your life, obviously.
His whole family, we're very good friends now.
Oh, wonderful. I can't imagine the pain you must have endured. What was all of that like?
Well, for me, I felt some burns around my mouth area and on my knee, a few places. I can't quite remember.
Okay.
And obviously it was hot, but
sure.
It really it was not what you would expect.
Okay.
At least the way I remember it, and when I went through it, I noticed that it wasn't really just hopping around, rolling like you see on television.
Sure.
That's not what I experienced.
Yeah.
However, obviously it was hot. I thought when the ambulance came, I thought, okay, they're going to check me out, take me to a hospital, and then somebody will come and pick me up and, take me on home. I was trying to figure out, well, who's going to watch me when I get home?
Yeah.
When I got in the gurney with the ambulance, I laid back, and I eventually went to sleep and woke up 6 months later.
Oh,
so I was in a coma for the first 6 months.
Wow. Wow. So before your accident, what was your life like? What did you do?
Well, I did what normal people do, interact with others, social activities. I was civic minded, always have been. And of course, as I mentioned, my heart has always been serving God, at least as from age about 32 on. I have sought to learn more about our Heavenly Father.
You worked. You told me you retired a few years. 6 months prior to the accident. So, what type of work did you do?
My customers know me as the stamp man. I provided custom stamps and signs and badges, any marking materials through a manufacturer called J.P. Cook. Okay. They are notable. Why? Why are they so notable? They're a manufacturer. No, they're not just. They allowed me, with all of my customers,
right?
They serviced all of my customers and sent my daughter the commission. I was in the hospital a year and a half.
Oh my goodness, what a company.
J.P. Cook is the name of that company. John Cook is the person that authorized all of that. And that's the kind of, look at what God has done.
That's incredible.
So
that is incredible.
He brought a Samaritan to escort me out of the car. he provided, he allowed me to be in a coma so I wouldn't have to suffer through all of the various surgeries that would normally go through. Oh, I just, I have a story to rejoice in versus one that might be more tragic and devastating.
Robert, that's incredible. Are you telling me that while you were in this coma for 6 months, they performed all these surgeries on you?
Yes, I had surgeries after that, but
Okay.
the majority, those 30, at least 30, were performed while I was in a coma.
So,
The first 4 months was with UCI, that's University of Irvine in California,
mhm.
and I was in a coma from August to December 2013, and they sent me to a long-term hospital called Kindred, where from December to February is when I woke up from that coma.
Okay. So that means that they had faith that you were going to come out of that coma.
Well, it's just the opposite. They didn't think I would. That's why they sent me to they'd done all they could do at UCI.
I
And
see.
as a result of keeping me alive, yet my organs were not showing any signs of improvement. The
Oh,
heart, the liver, the lung, the kidney, etc.
mhm.
So the best they could do is put me in a place where, and I'm in a coma, so what's the likeliness of coming out the coma on a ventilator? It's very unlikely. So I was sent to Kindred, and by God's
Okay.
grace, I woke up.
That's incredible. It's incredible that even though that they didn't think you were going to make it, nevertheless, they continued to do these surgeries that you needed. And they were done during a time when you were asleep in your coma and you didn't have to suffer through them. That's incredible.
Isn't it? Yeah. My former wife and daughter, and there were so many, I had no clue that there would be that many supporters.
Sure.
That, of course, my former wife, she was gracious enough to sign off on everything so that I could have every surgery that was recommended, even the ones that they felt were a very low percentage of success. She signed off on every one of those. And as a result of that, uh, I managed to survive it.
Wow. Wow. So I was going to ask you about family support. But before we get back to that, I hope you don't mind me asking this question, but what was it like after your surgery when you looked in the mirror at your new face?
Oh, people ask me all the time.
Uh-huh.
Well, keep in mind, I was in a coma, right, for the
Yeah.
first 6 months. When I woke up, that was like in February 2014. It took about 3 weeks for me to realize I was actually in a coma. They insisted that I was in a coma, but I had had such a delightful experience. I had a friend within this, I know it's a coma now, but it was reality to me at the time. And this friend continued to reassure me that everything was okay. My daughter was fine, and anything I would ask, I trusted him. He just continued to assure me that things were going well.
Okay.
When I came out of the coma, I didn't know that, but the nurses and doctors started rejoicing, and friends would come and so on. Oh, you were in a coma. You're a miracle man. You're this, you're that. Oh, what's this? And so eventually I realized, well, I must have been in a coma after all.
So you lost 6 months of your life, but you said you were having an enjoyable experience.
Oh yeah, Seattle had became football champ, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of thought about them, throughout the earlier part of the year in
Uh-huh.
2013. I kind of like the quarterbacks and the guys, the way they play. And I think, and turns out that I didn't get a chance to see the Super Bowl because I was in a coma all that time. Radio, I would hear the radio and they'd say things like, 2014, we got this weather. So eventually I just acquiesced. Okay, I must have been in a coma.
Okay. So when did you have your face transplant?
That was several years later. Let's see, 2014. I was in the hospital a year and a half.
Oh, okay. Because I read, so then the introduction was incorrect when it said last July you had it. That was in July of 2014 that you had it?
The accident occurred August 2013.
Okay.
And I didn't get out of the hospital until November 2014.
Okay. And then
I was in various hospitals, but nevertheless,
right.
I never saw the light of day until around November 2014.
When was the face transplant done?
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So it's been 3 years, almost coming up on 3 years, right?
Yes. In
Yeah.
July, it'll be 3 years.
All right. So answer my question. When you first looked in the mirror after you got this new face, what did you think? Hey, I like that guy.
Oh, you're talking about the transplant face, not my, because I didn't realize I was burned all over.
Yeah.
When I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
That face, that's the burned face. No
right.
lip, no,
Right. I got it.
Yeah. So you want to know about
the current face? Yeah. What'd you think after you saw your new face?
Oh, I thought it was okay. I didn't really. I was satisfied with my burned face. Believe it or not, it didn't. It was okay. The thing that I wanted, which I'm so glad to receive, was lips to cover my teeth.
Yeah.
So, my gums. So.
Well, it says that you suffered, your lips were burned away. And now I'm looking at you, and no one would ever know that those weren't just normal, normal lips, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, what you see, I received a full face transplant.
Yeah.
That means my head, you see this hair? I had no hair.
Oh, really?
No. And this is another forehead. This is new cheeks, another nose, another chin, and another, and of course a set of lips. This is all a full face transplant.
That's just incredible. So it was done in not just in one shot, but it had to be done in several phases. Is that it?
No, it was done all at one time.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yes, but
okay.
Basically, it was my burned face was stripped away. Let's just say it was to the skeleton.
Yeah.
And while a medical team prepared my face, then another medical team was preparing the donor's face in another city altogether. And my surgeon and his team flew to the other city to get the donor's face and bring the donor's face back to Brigham Young, where another team had been preparing my face. So
wow.
Basically it was stripped down because it's a little different, it's a lot different than having a transplant with a heart, lung, kidney, and so on. We're looking at one particular unit.
Right.
However, with the face, even though it's considered an organ, the face has all these tendons, muscles,
Sure.
ligaments,
Yeah.
blood vessels, nerve endings that have to be connected in every single little
Ooh,
portion of your.
man.
Yeah. So this is
Yeah.
what these surgeons. I mean, my God, can you imagine
Oh,
not just the technology, but the skill level?
oh, miracle people. They're just miracle
Oh
people.
man.
Absolutely. So when you looked at your new face, did you go, I need a nose job now, or no, this looks pretty good. I like this.
Well, the nose is larger. Actually, his face is after the donor is a little bit larger than what my face was like. So
Okay.
there's like my cheeks, you could see that.
Yeah.
So it's getting used to,
Yeah.
but the gratitude is so high for
Oh,
me
yeah.
that, what do I care about? If I
Oh,
was satisfied with a burn face, how much more am I content and grateful for a face that doesn't.
Well, hey, Robert. I mean, I just think you look great, and who would ever know? It's just an incredible thing that they did for you, and you know that. Now, tell me about. First of all, how did you cover the cost for all of this? Because it had to be incredibly important, expensive.
Well, I couldn't cover the cost, but we started a GoFundMe prior to the transplant.
Okay.
That was in 2000. Actually, we started a GoFundMe in 2017, and then we started the foundation at the end of 2017. We were finally approved.
Okay.
And the purpose of that was we knew the expense wouldn't be for the surgery itself. That was covered by the Department of Defense providing a grant to Brigham Women's Hospital.
Okay.
They were allowed to do 10 face transplants for research purposes, so that the DOD, they had over 300 candidates, qualified candidates to receive a face transplant.
Wow.
But they had to make sure that it could be done successfully.
Okay.
So they gave the contract to Brigham Women to do those face transplants.
Sure.
So in terms of the surgical procedures, that was covered. I didn't have to put any out-of-pocket expense.
Sure.
But the greatest out-of-pocket expense for me was not only in preparation, but also post-surgery because of the medication. Pre-surgery, I had to have, in my case, I had 5 different people that had to fly to Boston and stay with me a week at a time.
Oh, boy.
So you had to pay for the airlines and the food and the lodging. Sure. The hotel, I had to stay there a minimum of 90 days in Boston, along with having my own place in Los Angeles. And coincidentally, remember, I'm recovering from my burns, the auto accident and all of that.
Yeah.
So I finally get strong enough to walk on my own, and then I got able to drive. I purchased a car, or I invested in a car. And I also invested in an apartment because I was living with my sister for 3.5 years in a desert area called Victorville, California. And so here I am. I get enough commissions from J.P. Cook to at least get an apartment and invest in purchasing a car. I do all this in May and June, and in July, I get the call to go to Boston for the transplant. So all of that expense, it just becomes, that expense, you have no clue of the special items. I'll just give you one item, one particular medicine for a 60-day supply was $11,300, and that was in 2016.
Holy mackerel! Wow.
for one, and you have to have that one every day along with. At one time, starting out, I had 31 different medicines right after surgery.
Oh boy.
Now it's down. I take 16 in the morning, I take 5 in the afternoon, and around 8 in the evening. So, and that's Robert Chelsea is not the. This is why we started the foundation, because there's so many people. A liver transplant, heart, kidney, they don't go through quite the experience, but it's close enough where so they have to have support. There's no way the average person can afford, and not to mention a caregiver. Who is going to care, especially the first 3 to 6 to 90 days, you need somebody 24 hours a day.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, to get a transplant from the kidney, you have to have a 24-hour care. They won't sign you up, allow you to be a candidate without committing to 24-hour caregiver.
Okay. So tell me about the foundation and what you do there.
Yeah. Well, we are rigorously approaching others. That's how I met you. We're approaching others to let them know the importance of transplantation.
Okay.
Just like you have a blood donor, and as a result of donating blood, if you donate one eye, can save 8 other eyes. I learned these things as a result of considering having a face transplant. So as a result of that, I realized that it's not just me or my ethnic group or the United States, but every country, every individual. You've seen deformity everywhere. So we have to make the effort to we can't help everybody, but we can encourage the scientists and the students and the researchers and the positions and the governments of every country to consider raising their flag for transplantation, so that they can have more individuals having their limb replaced, and or stem cells. Certain stem cells can eliminate sickle cell, leukemia, bone marrow. It gives a person a new life altogether. Not to mention the hearts and lungs and liver and so on. I would not obviously be here had it not been for a precious family donating their family's loved one's face. So this is why the Robert Chelsea Foundation exists, and this is what we are attempting to do as much as we can until we get a little larger. We'll do more.
Good. So you're accepting contributions to the foundation, I presume, right?
Gladly. We're accepting. We need volunteers as well, and corporate sponsors, because there's so many activities that we need to support the post-transplant recipients. Depression, mental illness plays a part. Their family feels bad about having to deal with a member that's handicapped. There's so much that needs to be done. Who is going to take care of or allow that person to stay with them, cook for them, clean for them, shop for them, give them their medicine? And so these kind of, it is important that they have support, and that's what we endeavor to do.
Do you have help? Do you have people working with you on this?
Yes, of course we have our board, and we have 1 or 2 volunteers. But we also are working with other organizations that also have a heart for the same kind of support. One organization provides housing at no charge for the first 3 months. Housing. a room, bathroom, everything for that patient because they're going to need nursing care. And so when the generosity of individuals is overwhelming at the different organizations. So we collaborate with them to do things that we may not be able to do ourselves.
That's wonderful. Now, you also said you hope to become a gateway of support and comfort to potential donor families. What's the plan for that?
Donor families have apprehension. They remember their family member, whatever condition that disabled person is in, it's going to be life-changing. For me, for an example, my daughter still, what does she look at when she sees Robert Chelsea? She sees her dad's soul, but her visual is another man's face.
Okay.
And it reminds others, well, why did I have to even have this? It's because of an accident, a drunk driver. So it makes individuals angry. It causes them to, it's so many mixed emotions that the families themselves need, because they're the ones that are really the main caregivers, if you will, for that individual. And they need to understand it.
Exactly. So you close your email with this quote, the one you sent to me anyway. God places flowers upon each of our doorsteps. Sometimes we must be that flower. Explain that.
Noah was called to build an ark. Although it took him 120 years to do, that's what he was called for. You don't hear anything much more about Noah after that.
Right.
But he was that flower. And his time, if you will, to blossom was during that particular period. And each of us have a particular time. Mine, in this case, when Daniel came out the lion's den, he rejoiced. Where was he before then? But after coming out, that was his time. That was his flower. He bloomed, he brightened up, he encouraged. And my plight, if you will, is to be that flower or comforter to the next person that God sends our way.
You are an incredible human being. I just have to tell you that. I mean, you really are. And thank you for that. Robert, I really appreciate you being with us on Lean to the Left podcast. This is one of the most heartwarming stories that I've ever done. And I really appreciate you sharing your experiences and your time with us. And I hope you guys listening appreciate and just a little bit understand what this man has gone through and what he's trying to do. I just think it takes an incredible amount of courage and selflessness to do all of this. Robert, thank you.
Oh, Bob, thank you. Caring is what you and I do.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this Lean to the Left video, and you'll come back on a regular basis and check out our interviews with guests on topics that I hope you find interesting, entertaining, and enlightening. Our audio interviews stream weekly on Mondays, and depending on what's going on, also on Thursdays. And many are also produced as videos like this one. In addition, we provide narrations of much of the commentary published on the Lean to the Left blog, commentary by some excellent writers with perspectives on a whole range of topics. Now you can sign up as a member at leantotheleft.net. And of course, it's all free. Also, let your friends know about this podcast and take a minute to subscribe. Just go to podcast.leantotheleft.net and you can subscribe there. You can also check out the upcoming interview schedule, and you can listen to all of our episodes too. You can also support this podcast by clicking on the Donate tab at the top of the page, where you'll find links to Buy me a cup of coffee and also PayPal. Follow us on social media. Facebook at the Lean to the Left podcast, Twitter at Lean to the Left 1, Instagram at Not Fake News. Now remember, our goal is to be informative and entertaining as we comment on the latest developments in the news. You guessed it, with just a little lean to the left. Now this is Bob Gaddy signing off for Lean to the Left. Thanks for sharing your time with us.